are going to do different things in their lives than the kids that are good at doing worksheets. Like, this is something else, and it's and what a lot of our students had was interesting is a lot of them weren't very good at it, but they knew Yusuf was good at this, and he helped a lot of kids really refine their practice. When once they saw, they knew he was pretty good at this stuff, and then they were like, he's the master. And he would advise on all kinds of kids' projects to help them get a better sense of how to put these things together. You know, everybody was better because Yusuf was good at it. And not because they were in competition, but because they were all collaborating. Nobody felt like if Yusuf helped somebody, that was detrimental to anybody else. Like, he felt like he brings everybody up by helping. So that's the kind of collaborative spirit we had. But it was one of those moments as a teacher, you're like, shut up. Did he just really do this? And then I was like emailing everybody, like, check out what these guys created. They're like, okay, you're being obnoxious. I'm like, but it's awesome. They're like, it is awesome. Full disclosure, I don't offer that as a average example. That was a very high-end example of a video that was ever created for me. But the lesson in all of it for me was I tried real hard to kill that thing. Like, I tried to step all over their joy on that project. But it was just like, passion, they're excited, I'm just going to stomp all over that. You will find yourself every once in a while doing that to children. I have been guilty of it once or twice, but you stop yourself. I completely think about it differently when a kid, before I tell a kid no, or I tell them their idea is bad or not good enough, I always think of this and think, is this about me? Is this really flawed? What is this about? And really try to say no as little as possible. Or, I think it's a really great idea, how can we refine that so it's a little bit more doable as a project instead of, I don't think that's good.
We were very excited. We do want you to know, first off, that we do have a survey for you to fill out. If you can return it to us afterwards, at the end of your session, if you can give it to Tammy, that would be really great so we know kind of how the session went. On there, you are going to rate Mr. Howard's pumpkin rolls, so you can tell us if they're edible or if they are addicting like crack cocaine. So that way he knows if he's making it. So,
Yeah.
Benny, it might be the pumpkin roll.
I agree with that. All right, so basically, Mr. Howard's pumpkin roll, it was something that doesn't really taste like a pumpkin and doesn't really taste like a roll. That's a 1. But if you're like spending your rent money to get another one, you kind of really want another one, then that's a 5. But if you can do that, that's great. So today, what we'll do is I think we have 2 more rotations to go through.
2 more rotations. We're going to try and get you guys out of here early.
Get you out of here early. That'll be a good thing, right? Unless you want to stay. You're welcome to. We'll probably do our lunch out of the cafe area because this carpet's really kind of hard to get crumbs out of. So your custodial staff had a hard time last night.
We did.
Yeah, we did. But that's our fault, though. So we're going to probably do lunch out of the cafe area. So just come pick up and whatever you guys want to do. And then we'll see if we can just get out of here a little early today. You guys have been fantastic. And whenever you're ready to get started, I'll tell you what. You guys finish up eating and
Diana and Marcy they'll be doing their sessions, so they'll determine if we can get you guys out of there early.
True Color takes a little bit, and then we'll just blast right through us. Yes, sir.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Some of my new brothers and sisters from the school has asked, without workout facilities here, are they welcome to use it as well? I told them yes, but I don't want to step up out.
Okay, so here's the thing, is that we keep saying we are Hampton. We are Hampton. We are Hampton means that we are Hampton, and that means that that's Hampton too. Hampton is his elementary school. But they built this city on a hill here for us to be able to shine our light on everybody, correct? So we're connected by more than just a sidewalk. We're connected by the concept of Hampton. So the middle school can use our classrooms, they can use our computers, they can use our workout room, they can use our gym. I would love for Carolyn to let those 8th graders come and graduate from this school next year. They should let us do something with them. It's a powerful experience too. But this is ours. This belongs to all of us. It's not mine, it's not yours, it's ours. And we just want to make that concept clear. There will be no more powerful vertical team in the state of Georgia than the Hampton Cluster. And I'll tell you that's because Carolyn, we love you to death. Carolyn gave us a home when we were working at a cubicle, and she let us kind of really get to know those kids and those wonderful, wonderful teachers, hardworking staff down there that really get it done. And so you know what? Now we return the favor. So in the favor return, this is her school too. This is their school too. And absolutely, come work out with us if you want to. If you can hang, you know, definitely do that. So that's really important as well. Danny, what time we got right now? You guys
We
watch
got
through.
8:17.
All right, so I'll tell you what, 8:30. We'll stop rotating. Is that cool? All right,
Make
fantastic.
sure you
That's
get
a
a
great day.
survey. I'm going to pass out the surveys.
good? There we go, plenty more. Find that URL. As you're finding that URL, I'll give you the directions of what's gonna happen. You're gonna get up after you find that. It's right over there. It's on the board in red. tinyurl.com/HamptonPD July Hull, like where the Titanic got hit by the iceberg. That's me.
I'll never forget that now.
Right? The kids are like, oh yeah. Next, you find out, just leave your machine where it is, and I'm gonna make you walk around after I introduce myself. Good morning. Here, do you have a machine? Do you need a machine?
No, I didn't bring it.
So, you don't want a machine?
I'm coming.
She's a rebel. You gotta watch her. She's rough. She'll interrupt all the time.
That's true.
Texting.
Okay, so my name is Marcy Hall. I'm from a school in Philadelphia, Center City, Philadelphia called Science Leadership Academy. And how I got here today to be with you is through Diana Lothberg. We taught together at Science Leadership for about 4 years. We also shared an advisory. I was pregnant and she helped me with mine as I had my kids. So as I took leave, she took over my kids. And then she left the school actually, and this is what advisory does to you, be prepared. She left the school, started doing all this consulting work, but still would fly back for the parent-teacher conferences and be there for the kids when they graduated and all that stuff. And we still co-advise that group of kids, and they just graduated and all 20 of them went to college, so we're really excited. So she brought me in because she has certain skill set of assessment and pedagogy and developing curriculum. And then my job at Science Leadership, small school, 500 kids, lots of hats. So I'm the art teacher. That's all the artwork on me, which you can get away with if you're the art teacher in Philadelphia. I'm also the tech teacher, and then I'm the tech coordinator. So I can teach teachers how to use tech, teach kids how to use tech, and I can handle all of the preps for teachers being the art teacher. So it's an interesting mix. We started almost 9 years ago now. So I have about 9 years of experience pushing out 500 machines per year to these kids. So I think that's one part of the reason that they brought me down. And the other reason is we've been using Google Apps for Education since we began. So through the last 2 sessions that I had, I switched it up a little bit for you guys today. As we were going through, I sort of wanted to do a little bit of personalized learning and have you guys utilize me in the best way that you felt like, okay, school's starting in about 2 weeks. What am I going to do? I wanted you to be able to pick my brain in a way that you left here with something powerful. But from what I got the last 2 sessions was everybody wants to know about what Google Apps for Education can do. So I switched up a little. We're still going to start with the same exercise so you can get out of your own brains and sort of get to know each other a little bit more. We'll answer some questions. We'll do a share out. And then I'm going to show you a couple videos around Google Apps for Education and show you how you can collaborate with the tech to make a powerful studio. Sound good? And then from there, we can go off and diverge from my plan at any time. If you have other questions that you want answered or that you're wondering what your colleagues are thinking, write it on one of these things, have them answer. What I'm going to have you do right now is get up out of your seats and answer these questions around the room. Talk to each other as you do it. Read other people's answers. Whiteboard markers for whiteboards. Markers for paper. Got me? Get up. Talk to each other. Right? No. Yeah, no goes on. Where do you No, line with the blank. Then we're going to do an exercise with them afterwards, but the questions are already laid out.
Oh, yeah.
Technically, you can the other way around, very bad. The other way around, very bad.
Mrs. How will your students react to what?
So this is all under the umbrella. Here's your vision for this technology piece. This is all in the umbrella of tech. Like what's going to happen? What's coming out? What are you looking for as far as like that whole technology lens is concerned? And that spans a big umbrella. That's not a small thing. So wherever your mind goes in that, as related to these questions, just answer the best thing you can.
Paying attention to strengths and styles, particularly with reading comprehension.
It was.
You have any questions?
I don't know, I've always felt, I don't know if it's because I'm a literature person, but I feel like it's the most, you get the ability to be the most personal, because
You using a regular marker?
I'm not. Y'all's like, no, I'm not.
She looked at me.
How you spell talent?
yeah.
T-A.
ZQR.
I'm honest.
You want to, you know what you want to write.
What are you afraid of, Mr. Shalom?
You should. What's that?
That's me. I know, but that's my thing, I wanna make sure. I'm afraid of a lot. It's cricket.
So
It's
fun.
cricket.
Only time I think through everything. Yeah, it was some of that.
That's all right, I ain't never scared. Write it, do it, do it, do it.
What are you afraid of?
What's
Not
that?
being afraid.
We said not being free.
Spell that I very keen.
Falling.
It could be. I mean, I don't have a set rule for it. I will. Very quickly. We're gonna throw that. No, who was the one? I figured out how to. Remember the people in the audience?
Nope.
Yes, that's what it was.
So there's sort of also a meta level to what I'm asking you to do today. And what I want you to pay attention to as I'm asking you to go through certain exercises are these are the same things that we ask our kids to do. And when you're uncomfortable or you don't feel good or you don't want to get out of your seat or you don't want to do this thing or you're having negative feelings about it, your kids are having these same feelings as you're making them do these learning exercises and making them move around the room. So sort of put that in your brain as I'm making you do things as you're going around. I'm putting you in the position of the student.
All the questions related to technology.
Yeah, so that's the overarching.
I have one word.
Rich Rock's not afraid of anything, that's why he's struggling.
I'm struggling with what I'm afraid of. I don't know. Maybe the unknown.
You can put down instead of what you're looking forward to or what, you know, it's going to be meaningful to you. You can switch it up. That's good.
Afraid of the unknown. Really or not?
Nice, my mom.
Right.
There
No, I
you
wouldn't
go.
blame
It's like her fast and straight. Oh, you're past you coming up. What are they doing? Where are they going?
Well. No. Noelle hung out with him yesterday and she, about 12 o'clock, she was like, dude, the day is almost over. Get up, let's go do something. So he's just kind of hanging out, playing, swimming, yeah.
They do.
I'm just kidding. That's personal.
Oh, it is. Okay.
the
people in the room, you can see that you have completed the task. So, hopefully as you were going around and answering the questions, you were reading other people's answers as well. If you didn't, that's okay. In the next sort of activity, you can do that. So, I'm going to count you off from your seats again. So, we're going to do, there's a lot of you, so I think we're just going to do, you want to do 5? 5 groups? Sound good? Whatever you want to do.
Hey, this is your show.
Well, actually, so we're going to do 5. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. So 1's find a spot, 2's find a spot, 3's find a spot, 4's find a spot, 5's find a spot. 1's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3 here, 5,
Right here, right here, right here.
5 right here.
4. Raleigh.
5.
Not there, but that's Raleigh, Avery.
Are you a 5 color?
Yes, super, yes. You can play them at purple and,
Shirts y'all are wearing also. It's exciting. It's polos. Uniforms.
So at your table, your group, pick a scribe, someone that's going to be doing the writing.
Yeah, I like them. I noticed that Mr. Calvin's got like 10 of them out.
He's been collecting mine.
I buy their shirts.
They're nice.
I'm a bargain hunter.
You gotta be.
Welcome. Oh, right here. So is that LHS? Is it all okay?
By the way, I had to
We're gonna
change
do,
it.
I noticed, I wonder what if, your scribe is gonna write down your reactions based off of what you've read, what you started to talk about. What I've found since I've been here is y'all need to just talk to each other. You haven't, like, get out of your minds, like, let each other know what you're thinking about. What do you think of these things, especially around this vision, right? You're creating this digitally converted, personalized learning community. What does all this mean? Here's some of the stuff that you're already seeing what your colleagues are thinking about. So what are the major themes? What are you noticing, right? What are you wondering about that's in these heads of these people that you're going to be working so closely with? Because you guys are in studios together, right? So you need to know each other. And then you're going to be advisors of these kids that each other are going to have. You're going to have to know how to work with each other. So I notice, I wonder what if. Write that at the top of your paper. And then we're going to share out at the end what you're noticing, wondering, and what ifing about.
Because that goes on this paper.
Talk to each other.
It goes on our blank paper.
It goes on your blank paper. Anybody need a blank paper? Anybody need a marker?
Y'all don't want me to be the writer. You be a writer?
Marker, you got
You want to write? Okay.
it. You
Good.
can write on the big paper, you can write it on
Writing
the
is,
small
I
paper.
mean, it's legible, but.
Not a lot of rules.
Okay, now what are you going to be teaching tonight? What are you going to be teaching? Oh, okay, you're the ISS. Oh, okay. I'm Carolyn Bell. Hi, Carolyn. I'm Gigi. All right, Gigi. Scare them and put them out of there. Tell them to come back in here. Cohen was the master of ISS, I'm telling you. Never issues. Science. All right, and what are we talking about?
I noticed, I wonder what if. What are we noticing? What are we wondering? What are we getting at?
Based off of what's bubbled up in answering these questions and other reactions to these that you've seen, and under the umbrella of your vision.
I wonder what the have a school that.
Or you can yeah, you're right, it gets pretty.
Say again? You want me to go up and buy a tablet?
That's what the county lives out.
They got their own.
That's the.
You said I wonder. It'll be everywhere.
That's a little scary because we're not used to that. You know, we're used to kind of hovering.
Yeah.
Especially in sixth grade, we hover. And to let them move, that's gonna be kind of hard. We're gonna do it, but,
You still have some control over their movement. It's not like,
but if you don't let them move very far without us right there, you know, we're talking about doing reels, and I was like, oh, somebody's gonna be able to really but, you know, that's just for the way, you know,
yeah, that's if they need to, if they're working higher.
just change, that's all they're having.
What did you say?
Okay, and I know this.
I have an I wonder.
What's your I wonder? But that's
I wonder what new technology or apps they're gonna come out with in this coming year. Because there's some really good ones. Yeah, aren't you doing like a library one?
You're right, that's what
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you said you wonder what new technology or apps they will.
Come out with in the new year.
Concerned it might lead to schoolwork. So he does everything.
And better.
Yeah, and
Yeah, and better. That's the best part.
The
next year or the new year?
The new year, whichever. The new year. I noticed the environment is so much different than what I'm used to.
Okay.
A lot of sound sites, anyway, make sure they're all No.
Because some kids just don't know they can actually have an extra finger. And it has,
I noticed I noticed the resistance and change of right now. People's calculations.
That we may not have to worry about.
Most of the things that everybody is afraid of is not being effective, and it's something new, something that we're unfamiliar with. I know most of us feel like the way that we're teaching now is effective for the children, so always, you know, it's something new. You have that fear that you're not going to be able to do it just right now.
Yeah, okay. So how do you want to say that? And then I have a comment to that.
Fear of effectiveness.
Questioning.
But there's no right. There's no right or wrong.
And I think that's what everybody's here about, because that blows my mind.
You're trying something, and if it doesn't work, you change it to something else. You go look up something else to do. So, because this year, this is not our implementation year, this is our year to explore and see what things are going to work for our kids, what things are not. So this year is going to be more of jump in, do it, and let's see what happens.
See, that's I think, I don't know about you, but that's where I feel like, you know, that's it's exciting. I'm excited about it, don't get me wrong, but it's like, that I'm not used to being outside that box. I'm in the box, and everybody telling me, hey, you stay
stay in that box.
I don't want anybody in the box. That's my whole thing. I need everybody out of the box.
I think that would be.
I wonder when I get without my playbook.
Yeah, I mean, really. Of course, my playbook might be similar still because I teach course, but you know. But I have that freedom to do
It's a
whatever.
whole new thing.
And that's very exciting, but you don't,
It's like
you're not worried about, okay, am I getting this information? And are they learning?
But you'll figure that out with the formative assessment. When you give them the formative assessment, you'll know whether they got it or not.
Yeah.
And then remember, everybody's not gonna be in the same place at the same time anyway. So, but what I like most about it is finally getting teachers to start being more creative. Because before, everybody was so stuck on trying to teach what's on the test. And to me, that dummies kids there. Because the CRCT is a minimum competency test. So why would you teach to the test? Because I know it's important, because that's what everybody sees you by. But if we're teaching up here, that test should mean nothing to us. It should be a brief. So, right, so everybody's been stuck on that for the last, 11 years, more than 11 years.
Well, that's that box. Yeah,
Exactly. And so now you get a chance to be creative. Your kids get a chance to be creative for the first time ever.
We're all looking at them, I can do that.
Exactly. Because the kids are going to be apprehensive about it too. It's not just the facilitators, it's the learners too. They're going to be apprehensive because you mean somebody really cares about what I need to know and how I need to know it and how I get to do it.
Tell you have to come to me and I'll come to you. Just say, look, I'm gonna do this. You think it's okay? Yeah, do it.
And the kids they're going to present and say, okay, I know how to do this, but I don't know how to put it out. And you got to come up with it. I can't give it to you anymore. It's more of
no more spoon feeding.
Exactly. I think they'll love it.
I really think that we'll be surprised.
It just blows all the old concepts out of the water. So
It's like starting over.
yeah, it's exciting. It really is. I'm already coming up with things I've never, just studying over the summer. I'm coming up with new things I've never done before.
Have you thought about what classes you're going to offer during power hour?
I've already started planning. I'm gonna do, I don't want to call it finance and ethics, but it's going to be fun. We're going to do, like, I'm going to teach them how to balance a check. We're going to let them buy stuff. And I'm going to give them a credit card, and they're going to have to know how to, we're going to talk about insurance. I'm going to let them insure crazy stuff, like your pet elephant, I'm going to show them how the process works. I'm going to have crazy fun with it. But I'm going to teach them the ethical and financial responsibility, because that crisis we had a couple of years ago, these kids need to know how to do finance.
Okay, that's going to be fun.
I think it'd be cool. I like that line.
They're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be fun.
And my music appreciation would be fun too.
Okay, good.
We use the music that they like, and cross-reference with the old stuff, and show them how it's different. Make instruments, and
That'll be fun.
it's not going to be sitting and taking notes.
Good.
Okay, we ain't got everybody else.
Right about 2 minute warning, and then we're gonna share out each group.
What if we
4
can't get out of the
minutes,
box?
finish up your what ifs. If you went in order, maybe you're at the top.
I mean, we can, I'm just trying to come up with something. What if we can't get out of the box, comma, how will it affect our students? That may not be, I teach course.
What if they're using technology?
And now that is a concern, because they're not giving us the device, we're still fighting for it.
You're what, right?
Learn the fine art of great writing.
Money always runs out.
Yeah, of course it does. I was gonna ask you, I put on that one over there. That's why I don't know where that was right there, y'all, packets and stuff. Can you have any, like, you
I know these guys.
What if we have that one part of the technology or everything?
walking to a big and then also a bunch of what's next. So something like
But here's the thing, even if they don't like it, maybe look, I'm a student and I don't like doing stuff on technology, then the teacher can cater their instruction for that student to not have to go up there and have to just to see what they do, and then the kids gonna, you know how the kids are. Kids are worse than kids than so they're like, you know, they'll start talking to them and then they'll start getting comfortable with it, but it's trying to be the way they are, so they don't feel like it's being forced on them.
Be used to the technology.
But the kids are
I'm good with that too, but I'm talking about I want to have a baseline. And then I want to have,
what grade?
4, 6 through 8.
Okay.
Yeah, so I teach all of them. So I want to teach them everything. Right, and I'm cool with letting them go and see what they're going to do, as long as, you know, but they also maintain their
They go to the lab, the kids if they have questions, they can email their teacher, and then they'll go to the teacher for when they need.
what they have in their classes and stuff. Big time. Because it's a it always goes back.
Nobody's asking if their kids just sit over there. That's a reason. But they also air place for all there are lessons and things to do, but then there's other things
I'm sure that
for that
I wish they would
that's
like a shell that you can put up, like a different shell that is transmitted through the teacher controls their conversation and says,
I would rather have a conversation about safety and using
Like for our labs, we're trying to figure out how we
What do you mean?
with the personalized learning, like am I gonna have
You may not have labs the same day, because it all depends on what those students need. If my lab is ready, and when you and Kobe work together, then you can figure that out. Then the kids who are ready for the lab can go to him, and then you're working on the other kids. So that's what I'm saying about that flexibility. You all can work together, but the class is still having that same period. And I parent. So it's sharing kids. It's not like they're my kids and I gotta put up for just my kids.
yeah, I do want to
And so those kids who are ready to participate in the whole thing, let them come up with it.
that's why I don't want to stand between them. That's
Instead
why
of everybody telling them everything they're gonna do, we're still fooling them. Because the kids are very creative. I've been surprised at some things that come
access, oh yeah.
Yeah,
there are ways around it.
exactly, because it's really nice to have like a whole science class. And then they'll get to the point where
All right, 30 seconds, finish up your conversation.
Right, it could be anything, there could be friends, there could be anything.
Where's group 3? We'll start with group 3. Group 3 is going to share out their biggest notices, their biggest parts of their conversation.
The biggest notice that, or some of the things that we see, the first word of all of it is concerns. Concerns versus strengths, concerns about student accountability, concerns about assessing students in various ways, and knowing that there's that accountability piece there. But that one thing, evidence of learning, doesn't always have to be the same. So that's the one thing that we really notice is the fact that it is just concerns in different avenues.
You're concerned about 2 weeks before school opens? But you need to talk about these things with each other. You have to get in your studios. You have to say, I'm concerned about this thing, and start getting that stuff out in the open so that you can have meaningful conversations about how you want these things to run and what you want it to look like for the kids. Group, let's go to group 5. What you got, group 5?
Okay, I wrote so somebody else can read out.
Okay.
But that was a ranking right there.
I did the writing, somebody else can do it.
Okay, we have, I noticed that the environment is much better than what I was accustomed to. Everyone is more excited and upbeat. The resistance to change is deflating. Facilitators are worried about how it will look. And then I wonder what the average school day will look like, what new technology or apps they will come out with in the new year. What do I do without my playbook? And what if we can't get out of the box? What if we can't get out of the box? How will it affect our students? What if there's not enough technology for students? And what if we have that one student who is resistant to everything?
That guy.
That guy. Yeah, we know that guy.
Anybody want to comment on there?
Can we just share our what if, because we did.
Absolutely, please.
Our what if was really, I thought meaningful to us is, what if this really does bridge that transition and builds a relationship, and how will it change the language in our students? Because one thing we talked about is, you know, high school going to the middle school and helping middle school come in here using like our science labs or different labs of our school. And then the kids always say, well, we didn't do that in middle school. It'll change that language because we will now know what's going on in middle school. They will know what's expected at high school. And we'll be building them a stronger foundation so kids won't have that excuse anymore. So the what if is, what if this training and this relationship piece we're building here will change the language and dialect of the students as they move to the different grades? That was our what if.
Where are my middle school people that are here today? Where's my cohort? Awesome.
Most of this.
Whoa, okay. Awesome. I'm so glad that they invited you guys. I think it's really powerful what they're trying to do, and I think a lot of you are already sort of understanding that and trying to create these bridges. Because if you're starting this language with these kids, the earliest that you can, you're going to get them in like this thought process where I'm not going to be afraid to try and I'm going to do these things. I understand what it is to have work time during class and have all of these types of freedoms. It's going to be very powerful. And then over here, I heard you guys talking about, well, what if our high school kids are down with the middle school kids, students, assistant teachers. We have something at SLA called the Independent Learning Plan, where they get release time for 2 hours on Wednesdays, and imagine, you guys are right next door.
Yeah.
So all of these things, and I think that's why our middle school teachers
And we're gonna have a dream team.
and
here.
yesterday.
We're gonna have a dream team here in the high school. It'll probably be a class next year. The only reason I know is because I'll probably be teaching, but it's gonna be our student athlete leadership. And what they're gonna be doing is we're gonna be farming out our mentors, our athletes that wear our jersey and are seen, our ambassadors, out to the middle school and the elementary schools, so that those kids see
What's possible, and they were saying the same thing over here. It's exciting. You guys have a lot of really cool things to start to work on to get kids involved with each other and adults involved with each other. The thing that I heard you saying too about this bridge that happens as well, you're going to be starting up this advisory program, and then there's the bridge with the rest of the community because you have all the parents. You're their contact person for those 4 years that kid is in that school with you. We're talking to the high school teachers now. That creates amazing bridges and bonds that bring your community together in a way that's unlike anything else. And then if you're starting to have those relationships down with your middle schoolers and the teachers, figuring out, getting people outside of their silos. What are you thinking about? What are you thinking about, how we handle PBL and all these things? All that is going to be across that bridge of understanding, and it's very, very powerful. Where were we? We were at 5. Did you guys finish?
Yes.
Okay. So let's go over to 1. What you got?
The number one people right here.
Number 1. Just read that. Number 1.
For our notice, we noticed that teachers are committed to the buy-in, which is very important because you're not committed, how can you get the kids committed? And we talked about the diversity of the teachers, the excitement that the teachers have, and that they're more relaxed with the changes coming, because normally people don't like change. So we noticed that there's more of a relaxed and acceptance of it. You know, like, bring it on, let's bring it on. I'm definitely bring it on. And then I wonder, I didn't write this, so I just got it. I wonder how long until the school is fully technology is completely through all the schools. Because we talked about how all the kids may not have all the computers the first year, but next year they'll add on. So I wonder is how long that's gonna take. I wonder also, is it transitioning from paper to online? Those, like, one of them was saying that.
We're going paperless.
Right, we want paperless, but then also we want to give them that individualized teaching, so if they're able to take the test in February, why do they have to wait till May? We gotta have that online for them to have opportunity to do that, go on so that they can partake in these advanced classes, you know, but they have that. Can't read that, she's not here. Another I wonder is the household support, and in that reference, we'll from my kids, so we'll be able to read that next one in just a minute. But household support, one of the concerns was a lot of the households, because of who we work with, may not be able to have the internet at home, because the internet has become expensive. But the kid would love and would benefit from it, so has anybody thought about?
I think this is one of the reasons the hours are like they are, open early, closing late. Kids can come up here and sit and use the internet and have a connection. And I think they're gonna start to try to do something with the community as far as your internet service providers to get.
We've actually
cheaper.
we're talking to the city of Hampton.
There you go.
To try to work on
I think
getting
a lot,
internet
because
just for
the
the
school
kids.
districts and it's all tied politically, they're gonna figure something out.
So, and, because that's gonna be a big piece of it.
Absolutely.
I live in the community, and I know the community, and that's gonna be a very big piece of it.
But the testing is a big one.
This one? Being tested,
Okay, so the full book and say goes back to the testing, having the assessments and stuff online, make sure that. And then what if it doesn't work, the old way doesn't work, I mean, if it doesn't work, then do we go back the old way? Or do we create a new way? You know, so the, kind of like the unknown about that part. And,
Plan B.
right. And then, you know, and a lot of times, and a lot of times, you know.
Every teacher has a plan B, it's just that when plan B goes to plan A, that's when the problem is.
Yeah. And then one other thing was, there was a concern that what if teachers don't feel comfortable to bring the kids up to the level where we're setting this goal, and what if they start kind of bring that bar down to the child, which means they're not gonna grow. So that was also.
Keeping that enthusiasm of expectations at all times, it is difficult. Any reactions to group 1? Let's go to group 4.
Things we noticed with the studios, because some of us have never heard of anything like that before in our life.
Right, it's your team, right? You have teams that have studios, it's just it's semantics.
Some of us, where we come from, it's just been 90-minute classes, 4 classes a day, that's it. So the studios really are very different. Puzzle-like tables totally love because it allows you to move around the room and interact, social interaction. Dry erase, tables
Right,
the best thing invented. Good ideas and questions from teachers as we, like, I think it's awesome I'm sitting in here with middle school teachers because we would never have been exposed to you guys and I would have been like, hey, maybe you would have had to wait.
I
but
have been able to
known
feel
nothing about
this in the rooms and in the library, and when I'm coming in, you can feel the excitement in the air. It's almost like you can chew on it. It's awesome.
Well, now you can put a name with a face and, you know, associate with each other, and now it's a community instead of, hey, you're middle school and we're at the high school, you know, there's no division. I think that little sidewalk I walked for 15 minutes yesterday is the yellow brick road. There's your first project. There you go. I'm gonna start selling that road. Yeah, great opportunity to work collaboratively. I can't say the word collaboratively. I can't unstuck. Because again, I would have never sat at this table with, you know, all different types of people with different backgrounds and, you know, different thought processes. It just expands our body of knowledge, which is awesome. Stress levels are increasing, some would say decreasing. For me, who's not exposed to this kind of studio schedule, everything else, it's really, I'm like a little bit stressed about that. Also, most of us are not given this opportunity to expand our horizon and be like, oh, now I can actually teach what I've always wanted to teach, or now I can expand it and add a little bit more to my class, make it more interesting, whatever. I wonder with some of us, it's location, location, location. I'm used to getting a schedule, someone saying I'm in room 212 at 8:45. Now I'm like, where am I supposed to be? I feel like there should be an app for me because I still don't know where I'm supposed to be. What are the different types of clubs available? I really think as teachers, especially coming to this new school, what's available so we can make it known to the kids. What are we doing the first year clubs so that teachers know here? And in the middle school, they can combine, I don't know, really cool. How can we engage students involving both schools, effective collaboration? One thought was like National Honor Society for tutoring. Their community hours might be go over there to the middle school and put in their community service hours, tutoring, whatever.
Cross-pollination.
What if struggling students were not successful? How do we reach them? How do we catch them? How do they don't slip through the cracks? We don't lose them at all. How do we keep them on track? Like, what's going to be the most effective way to grab them? Because you're going to have them. Technology isn't available, not working. What do we do? Of course, there's always a plan B, but I don't know. Some of you will have technology every day in your class, but some of us won't. It'll be a couple times during the week, so it just depends. Parents, the biggest thing I see now, I give the example of elementary school. Elementary school parents are at parent night. They're there for the PTA meetings. They're there almost as much as they can because it's elementary. But when you get to high school, what happens? Middle school. So I think that's a big issue that needs to, how can we get the community in the middle school, parent night, become.
I think I start to see that change with the advisory program because you'll have personal connections with each of those parents through one teacher in the building instead of, I'm coming from parent night, I can run around 7 different people.
Yeah.
So you sit down with one person and your kid and talk about your kid. It looks a lot nicer.
Yeah.
So it's something that it switches it a little bit. You know, what are they coming to? How are we providing information for them in a way that they want to participate in that information instead of them making them work for it?
Well, and then finding the parents that are leaders in the community too.
Absolutely.
We have some that, if you tell them ahead of time, they'll get them there.
So much of that was
They
great.
will get them.
Yeah.
Just for, and there's the real personalization, right? Just because they can go off to the clock and it doesn't matter when they complete the thing or the test or whatever, and they're accelerating through the content. It's not personalized. Personalized is, I know your last name, I know you have 3 sisters, and I know that your mom works a lot and that you're lonely. And I know that your work that you're going to produce for me is different from yours. Because your mom is home all the time. You guys sit down and eat together and do homework. I know that about you. That's personalization. That's where it gets powerful. That's when your expectations can change from kid to kid and you can really drill down into what their abilities are. You know, instead of, oh, you're done that thing, you know, speed up, go to the next thing. How fast can you go? It's like, okay, tonight, how much you do these 3 problems? You've got 7. And then you're gonna come in and work with her in the morning, you know? But you're excited because you get to sit with your mom and work with, you know, you're excited to see those 7, right, you know? But I know that about you because I have a chance to be able to know you. Or their advisors come and said, look, you're gonna have 7 props at night, what are you, crazy? Like, the kid wants to do it, but it's too much, and his mom's noticing this thing. And as the advisor, I get to have that conversation about what's right for that kid.
And I think it's also the counter. I had a kid turn in something for me one time, and I knew he hadn't done it. You know, and it's not like it was just too good. It just wasn't him, and he could think like that, sure, but the way that it was put together. And so I said, I want you to talk to me about how you completed this.
Let's have a conversation instead of go to whatever room you're
right.
from.
And I said, so talk to me about who helped you with this. And he said, nobody helped me with this. I said, okay, then read this right here. And he stumbled through it. I said, all right, so talk to me about who helped you with this. Well, my mom helped me a little bit. Come on, talk to me about what happened.
And
so
that.
I told him to take it back because he had talked to me about the assignment. So I knew he was excited about it. I knew what his expectations were. I knew he wanted to do well, but I wanted him to do it. So I sent it back, and then when I got the mess back, then I knew he had legitimately done the mess. And I was satisfied because he had given me him instead of giving me these bits and pieces that I can tell where he stopped and somebody said, why don't you change this part right here? Because there were words in there I know he didn't know.
Right.
I know he didn't know what that word meant.
I love the fact that you used the word mess. We'll talk about that in a second.
The other thing we just wanted to add to that was like community involvement, your businesses, your stakeholders who built this school. They really still need to not just be that person that put this all together and walks away from it, but to keep them involved or invited or whatever.
So that conversation, though, it takes a lot. It's a lot of energy as a teacher to have that conversation, and then to say to the kid, go and do it over, and then you got to grade it at a later time. But that learning and the fact that the respect that kid has felt from you in that moment to say, you see me, might not feel good at that point, but when they come back with their product and you're proud of them for handing in what they're capable of, that will change the way that they look at learning forever. I like the word mess that you use because I'm hearing a lot about fear, and I'm thinking we're going to get into it. Let's hear from you guys first. I'd rather hear from you guys. So, group 2.
All right, so we noticed the excitement and just the uncertainty and questions, a bunch of what ifs. We wonder how it will look in each classroom, in our individual classrooms. We wonder how to make the transition to personalized learning. I think that was probably our biggest concern was how do we balance the old school mentality of teaching, on days when you might have the lecture, how do we balance that with this personalized stuff, the technology. And then what if we fail, or what if we are not successful in delivering personalized learning to our students?
Right. And your reactions to that?
I mean, the biggest thing is you have to be able to call an audible. Right. You have to say, hold on, time out. Let's call an audible here. We got to change it up. And that comes from, different aspects of that. Failure can't be an option. Right. We got to get that word out of our vocabulary. It's called change it. We see it's not working. Change it up.
Or what about having there and embracing it?
And just say,
that's part of the process of project-based learning.
It has to, and it's not, you can't measure it as you failed. You can't say, it's not that, it's just didn't work. The practice. It's got to be okay.
This is what a reflection.
Exactly.
This is what I'll do different next time.
And another thing, I used to work at an early college in North Carolina, and an early college, it's a 5-year program to get high school and associate's degree all in 5 years, and they all had laptops. These are not the end all to end all. This doesn't have to be every day. This doesn't have to be,
you're making my point.
Your project doesn't come here.
See y'all.
And it's just, that's the whole thing is, I'm not worried, I'm not scared, I don't have these concerns because I roll the punches. It's who I am. It's the coach in me. It's just who we are. The coach. I know my players are not going to be 100%.
Why are they?
Exactly. So I just keep telling everybody I talk to, relax.
Right.
This is not the end all. It's a great resource. And the biggest thing I know when I first went to a one-on-one school was not being trained, not knowing what to reach out and get. We're going to see those unknowns are going to be revealed available to us in time.
Right.
They are. It's just knowing that it's going to be okay. And we can just give the kids us.
Right.
If we give the kids us, they will be fine.
So what I'm hearing you say, this is the part that I was gonna get to after you guys are finished sharing out. Are you finished? Okay. Is that this stuff is messy. Project-based learning is messy. It doesn't look nice. When your administrators walk in, you have kids in all parts of the rooms, one's gonna be sitting there looking at the ceiling. And you're wondering, oh God, please, get out of my room, but they need the work time, right? Then everything's gonna get, they're gonna culminate their little, projects that they're working on together. You spend all this time like scaffolding, working on like step A, step B, step C. You're gonna get a mess, and it's gonna look really bad. And you're not gonna want to share it with your colleagues, because you're like, it doesn't look like they learned anything here. But if you ask those same kids to do that same project again, it would be beautiful. But there's not enough time in the school year to do that. But the learning that they take from it, and the reflection that they'll be, and the way that they'll be able to talk about their learning, because of the scaffolding and how careful you were with each learning goal, and the way that you designed, because you are professionals. You know how to do this. It's just going to be packaged a little bit differently. But you're going to fall back on what you know and your training. And then you're going to ask kids to do awesome stuff. But it's going to be messy. You're going to be embarrassed when people walk in your classroom. The classroom's going to be messy. There's going to be constant conversations with kids, and it's going to be hard. The second part of that is you have to give each other the permission to fail and support each other in this year. This is going to be one of the hard, it's like your first year. And part of the reason I'm here is to tell you about my experience. And I'm founding staff. I've watched, 8 years of this. I watch teachers come in all the time. Some of my teachers that come in have been teaching 8, 12 years. They're like, oh God, how do you guys do this every day? And they feel like it's their first year teaching again. And you're going to have those feelings, but be there, support each other, know that that's going to happen. And it's going to look bad, but you're going to be better in it next year.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I don't know if failure is the right word to use. And I don't know if the conversation I've had with a bunch of people is, I don't know if we're worried about failing just as individuals, because you're going to fail each and every day with doing the new things, and that's just part of the growing experience. My what if, and failure's probably not the right word, is what if in 5 years if the state test scores just aren't rising to where they think they should at the county and state level, then what? And just because I know in teaching, and I'm a new teacher, on my second year, but I know from this hearing, it seems like every 4 or 5 years there's always something new.
Right.
Because there's just not the true amount of time that should be given for something to take root and grow. So that's my biggest what if, is what if that happens? And what? Because this really is where education should go.
It's an interesting thing to teach kids how to think critically.
But it can take a while.
And it does take some time. But if it's scaffolded the right way, and you have strong teams, and your ninth grade stuff is structured in a way, you'll get there, because you want this stuff, it's very obvious. You'll get there, but when you're teaching kids to think critically, all that stuff falls in place, because they can figure it out. And our kids, they don't take written tests all the time. They don't sit down. We don't even give the opportunity for AP courses because it ends in a test. That's not our mission and vision. We don't do that. But we do have certain things within their senior year and getting them prepared for the SATs where we do ask them to write, and we go through those exercises, doing those things. Our SAT scores don't blow anybody out of the ballpark, but if you sit and you interview one of our kids and they talk about their learning or the school or what they want to do with their life or their goals, everybody will hire them because they have those soft skills, right? So it's letting go of the point system, and I know that slowly you're letting go of ranking and things like that. So it will take time, and you'll get there, but the proof will be in the kids and their reaction to learning, how they come prepared to your class, and then the different things that you're going to see them able to achieve along the way. It comes in slow. But I can tell everybody here is really willing to put in the work to see this dream through. It's powerful stuff.
The school that I worked at previously, there was this, and I call her a chick. Her name was Linda Anderson. She retired this year. She said, I've been teaching for 34 years, and this doesn't stress me out because of what I learned from her. And she walked into her classroom every day. She said, they're going to have something new next year. Every time, there's always something. She said, as long as you just give what you know how to give, And don't let anything stress you out, because they're not going to, they can say whatever they want to at the state level or at the office or whatever, but as long as you go in and you give them what you need to give them, and they do what they need to do, you just keep on rolling. And she sat at her desk, I mean, she was old school, I didn't love the way she did her class, but her kids scored well. She said, I love them, and then I love it when they leave. She took a lot of the pressure off me, like, because she was a good mentor for me. And I think it's the same thing every time we change up. Every time we do something like this, I think the stress level goes to 90%, and then, but I think it gets better each time. But I totally agree with what you said about, will it have enough time to root? Will it have enough time to take effect? And how long will it take, will we see the change before our administrators and our county office people, no offense, are like, you failed too much now. And how's that going to work out? And then how is that also going to affect the students? How's that going to, I think that's probably the bit, I don't know.
I can't imagine anybody, our kids coming in and using the personalized learning, not learning something. I just can't even imagine that, because again, they're doing more of the thinking now instead of us giving everything to them. And I think
painful at first. They're not going to be, isn't there just one answer? Can't I just sit around?
Go figure it out and then come back and tell me.
Right? And it's not going to be fun. There'll be tears. Nobody wants to think for themselves. It's difficult. Critical thinking is difficult.
It is, but that's where we need our kids to be. They need to be able to think critically.
Right.
They cannot function in the 21st century and to try to get all these different global jobs and everything else with us just spoon feeding and telling them everything. They've got to learn how to think.
Right. Preach it.
All right, so I'm gonna go on to a little bit. Let's talk about the meta of what's going on here, right? I'm here to talk about and have you learn about technology, right?
What we think you can do.
Right.
But that's when we have that new teacher keys, because it's not just on that one time, though. It's a collaboration or.
But sometimes our voices and markers, pencils, paper, glue are the best tools for the learning. And you have to be able to see that you're professional, you know this stuff. You have to be able to see, do they need a pencil today? Or do their laptops have to be up? And it doesn't matter. This stuff needs to start to disappear and be in the background, and the learning and the critical thinking has to come to the forefront. So how do you craft things in a way that's going to allow them to think about the things that they're learning, so that they can reach that meta level and see, that process eventually. They'll get there. But you just got to look that way. So here I'm trying to get you guys to talk about your craft, talk about what's important, pull out, get out of your own head so that people know what you're thinking about. So then now when I switch gears and go on to the next thing, you're going to have ideas. There's going to be things to pull from. You're going to be less nervous to talk to the person next to you, or get an idea from another place, or listen to the people next to you. And that's the meta part of this. But just because of the technology doesn't mean I'm always going to have a computer.
If you don't know something.
And it's up to you as a professional to decide what part of your unit needs to utilize these tools and when it needs to be put away. And really what you guys need is, and I saw this when I came in the door, is to talk to each other and have these conversations and let each other, get out of your heads and say what you're worried about and what's coming up. So we're going to dive into our laptops now.
Wait, before you get to there?
Yes, absolutely.
I guess part of what you were just saying, and part of my concern, I guess, is since personalized learning, I may have a student that's struggling here with Unit 3, and I've got this group over here that's moving on to Unit 5, and they're thinking, well, what if I can, if they're messing around, well, I'm still over here working on another project over here. What I'm thinking,
how do you wrangle that?
I mean, that's great. I love the organized chaos kind of thing, but then when you're trying to move, how do you?
Right.
When
the learning is off the clock.
I actually think once you give them that trust and they really sense that you truly are giving them trust, because a lot of times we say we trust you, but we're sitting there like.
I trust the guy in my eye.
They actually see that and everything, I'm not saying all of them, but the majority of them, when they see, wow, he's really giving me that trust, and like, he's really truly disappointed when I didn't do it, they're gonna want to do it.
And they're not gonna want to lag behind too much. They're not. It's a social thing. This comes from a mom of a 12-year-old. They're not gonna wanna be that last one, but they're gonna appreciate you giving them extra time, but they're not, I guarantee you, they're gonna know they're on unit 5. And they're gonna, even if you sometimes give them a contract, give them that contract and say, look, this is our deadline. I'm giving you extra time, but I'm cutting it off here. And you cut it off, and they know that's their cutoff. They know you give them extra time, it's personalized, but that's your cutoff. They're gonna be ready to move on, because they're not gonna leave it until they find us. They're not. That's that raising their goal, raising that standard, but yet personalized.
So when I came here, I had all these lofty ideas about what was gonna happen, and I've already had to change, personalize this stuff for you guys. All right, that's it. So I had like essential questions, and we're gonna learn about that, and hopefully these are my outcomes and things like that. But here's me already shifting to accommodate the population that I'm speaking to, or my clients, or to make this stuff work, and to make it the best possible experience, so you're walking away from here feeling like you have something to take with you to influence your craft, to relax you into like these next couple of weeks that are coming up, and to feel prepared. So what you're going to take with you is this website, and I'm about to show you how. What I'd like you to do now is we're going to do your info, quick sharing. If you click on that link on the Hampton High Hall Professional Development website, you'll see 3 fields to fill in: last name, first name, and email address. Now, if you have a non-Google email address, this next part, so what's going to happen is going to be a little more difficult for you. But you'll sit next to the people that you're comfortable with, and you can look at their screen. So anybody that has a Google address, this is going to work a lot better. We were supposed to have Google Apps for Education set up, but here's me just rolling with it.
So you want?
Yep.
Google email?
If you have a Google email, that's the preferred one. If you have another one, go ahead and stick that one in here. That's fine.
Is that Gmail?
Gmail, yes.
Gmail.
So if you have a suffix on an email, that is gmail.com.
Okay.
I'd rather that one in here than any other one. Oh, so you're on,
We need to be on Chrome.
Yep.
To the Chrome.
And then there's a tiny URL over here.
That's where we need to go.
Hampton, PD, July, Hall. That's okay. But yeah, you're gonna, when your district's going all Google Apps for Education, most of your work is gonna be done through Chrome. So this is a simple form that I made through Google Apps, and I'm gonna show you the front and back of it. This is sort of the skin of it. Yep. Can you see it over there? Here, I can write it down.
tinyurl.com.
Without spaces. Yeah.
Sorry.
I did. All that here.
I need to take off the
Look, it's so cute. Yeah, you see it. It's working.
I have one thing in here wrong. I see it now. Okay. No, I think there's a D in there. That shouldn't be there. Your info, the quick sharing.
And like if you were to get an email or whatever, can you change it? What we use it
Well,
for?
Ms.
Can we change
Wilson,
it
Ms.
later?
Wilson.
Yeah.
Okay, 'cause I don't have.
But we're gonna leave.
I don't have emails yet.
Because we're gonna, there's like Google Docs and all that stuff. It's really good to use, and the kids will use it.
You see some blocks, by the way, here.
Yeah, we'll have some more sessions this year.
I thought I'd try
Wait
it.
a second.
My kids will work on it.
It did? Well, I think our kids are gonna need it. So
such a wide variety. But I'm used to that.
If you're done, click around in that website on the different activities and stuff like that. Look at all the stuff that I've sort of stuck in there. There's stuff under references or resources that your colleagues have started to put up there. Oops, sorry.
I think I have a YouTube video that would pull up.
Oh, I can have it in my email. I'm so excited about saying a wireless. That's the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, but they're gonna do it a little bit differently. Some people, if they're gonna have the paper ones, the kids will have it, which is fine, because then they'll have their own. Because they were talking about really setting up some things in the documents too.
I'm so bad at using that.
So they'll have the information. But this time, they should be reading. They should be so that they know what they need to have.
Okay, so as you're filling that out, this is running in the background. I'm collecting the time that you put this in, your last name and your first name and your email address in a spreadsheet. Pretty powerful stuff. So I love to, part of the way that I like to teach stuff is use the tool to learn the tool. So we just type all that stuff in. What I'm going to do then is, I think we ended before, refresh me if I'm wrong. Up at around 40, right? Where do you guys start to see your names?
Well, it starts at 46 is today's date.
46, oh, right, thank you. See? So what I can do is take those addresses, copy them out. I can go back to the, I have things open in different tabs here. Website. And this is a Google site that I've created this in. Of course. I'm really bad at using these, so I'm learning with you right now.
And
these machines are very difficult for me to use.
Will you show them how to set that up?
These machines, these aren't going to be the ones that.
What are you asking?
No. I'm asking, you know how you set up this page?
Right, that's what I'm getting into.
Are you gonna show us how to
First,
set
I
that
wanted
up?
to show you what I'm doing with it. So
Okay.
on the side, I had that form embedded in my website. I had you answer 3 fields. I was immediately able to capture your information. And what I can do is share you into editing that website with me. So that's what I want to do. And as we're going along, then you'll have a bucket to dump resources, put more questions in, because there's a next step 1, 2. Noodle around in the site to see how it works. Not afraid to break it, because I can fix whatever happens in it as we're going through the different things. So some of you are going to sit here and do those types of things and noodle with all the resources that I have up. Others of you are going to follow me step by step by step by step for what I'm about to show you. And then some of you are just going to let this wash over you, and then when it comes time to learn to use these tools, you're going to know what exists and use them then. So you're going to think about other stuff, you're going to look at your Facebook, you're going to answer your phones. That's the meta part of this too. These are the same things that your kids are going to be doing. Because not everybody works on that clock. And the nice thing about that, do you see the timestamp? Maybe you're noticing with things that you're collecting that Bob works at 11 o'clock at night, consistently. You know that he's not gonna work in your class anymore. You know that. You can say, hey, can you go down to the library and get this thing for me? Give him other jobs during class time because you know that at 11 o'clock he's gonna be sitting at home doing his work then and be fully engaged. And that's okay, because his production time happens it doesn't happen at 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock at your class time. And that begins to be okay. I gotta sign it in here. If you don't already have a way to organize your passcodes for things, start. And do one and then make a rule for yourself that that's the way that you're gonna collect that information all the time. Because I did it to myself already, and that's why I'm logging into this one instead of another. I broke my rule. And I didn't record a passcode for one of my email addresses. I'll show you what that looks like too. So now that I'm signed in, and then I'm about to get it so that you can sign in too. You can see that I have the editing tools at the top there, right? So what I do is I can go over to share. If I made this in the right one, I could go over to share. I'll do it on this one really quick. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste the email address is right in. You'll get an email from me, and then you can start to edit this website with me. And as questions come up, you can put it in what's next, and then resources or things that I'm spitting out or stuff that you spit out, stick them here so that people can look them up again. Your colleagues have already started to put stuff there. Of course, I'm having a hard time getting them here. There we go.
Where can we post the the resources that we want to share?
Under resources, so you click on that page, and you click on edit, and then you'll get all of your editing tools. You can make them links if they're links. You can write in this text box now. So I'm going now to get to share you in that. Sorry for the delay.
It's almost 10.
Is that when we break?
I don't know. I got every time you
I was supposed to tell myself that before we started.
like a break between one session, and then I'll go to the other.
Okay.
I think it's cool.
So whatever email that you sent me in that sharing doc, you should see now in your email. I've sent it out, I've shared it. You should see it.
In here, in curriculum 20, Gmail is not. We don't have every kind of site that they got. Oh, okay.
For some reason, these computers, like say you don't have a Microsoft 365.
See right here.
Right, but I do it on my phone. So I can access it.
Everything.
You're logging in with your username and password. It's online, so it doesn't have anything to do with it.
It gives
So that's free.
all the sites that have like, you don't have to.
Because when I try to do my Harris County on this, it's only out the student didn't have access, because I'm logged in as an LHS student. So it's picking that up, it's like, I think.
And then like,
Yeah.
science.
Now my Gmail, I see it here. But
All right.
Harris County-
So this is just a little overview of what I'm gonna start to talk about.
When I share it with you, you can add it.
Virtual field trips. So I got.
Can we log into your different emails?
Curriculum.
Yeah, absolutely.
My Gmail don't pull us everything clear now.
Yeah.
But my Henry County will.
I don't think the sound came through on that for this one.
It worked worked in the classroom across the hall. Is the sound turned on the computer?
Right? And they're always
Advent Escape.
No. Where is it?
Advent Escape.
This year we're going in our 6th year. We're not new.
I'm so used to mine.
Exactly. Why do you think we weren't wireless?
Well, no, that's for speakers.
Shared it with us.
See all kind of games. Everything. Game sites. Okay.
So all this video really is just a Google created sort of overview of all the stuff that is included in Google Apps.
But if you go to the site, anything you can, all this stuff under every one of these. And from that, for the classrooms, six grades are 26. So don't forget, you all have a 26. Oh, you know, the sixth grade now is 26, right? Yeah.
Be ready. She has some stuff up front already, so.
It starts at 9, so you guys probably everybody.
All right, so then let's go to break. You're gonna go to break, and then you can ask me questions, and then go to the bathroom.
We didn't even see my old school. We did we did Google my grad school. My grad school is all Gmail. Like we edit everybody's collaborative career stuff. Grad school. I don't know if Henry County does. This easy
I'm going to the other side.
So we won't be greedy today. Just later.
Maybe you.
Well, I guess you can't go.
Mom's dad was here, she's great.
We're gonna have a good time.
You gotta love her.
We're gonna have a good time.
Yeah, good people.
Yeah.
And the best,
They are, and they're very helpful.
Yes.
the best part is, she knows to feed us. That's true.
She was saying, she's in the closet, yes, there's gonna have any of that
No, but we do really have a good time. Because that's what makes it easier.
I'm just, yeah, I'm like, you know.
They've already put their money in so you can use it.
All the teachers in my last one. everybody was down and we passed them in the hallway. They were nice, and I love my staff. I don't know what it is. We passed them in the hallway. Their face all looked like this.
Because when you have to be somewhere,
Yeah, I have
Hey, you fit right in, baby. We good to go.
Yeah.
If you like to eat, you can stay here. Oh, goodness. Miss Dixon yesterday. She showed and it connects to your Okay. Yep.
You leaving?
No, I have to go to another session, because I have some interviews this afternoon. Okay.
I couldn't see out of this eye. So I sit here and then my right eye at all. Not really. My brain shuts off the picture. It's got a little birth effect, but I can't sit on that side ever.
Don't you think it would be great? You remember the lady who did when Jill was a sales conference last year, the one who did that stuff on Don't you think it would be effective for us to pay for her to come and do this? Probably pretty cheap. I want her to come. She's probably very, she's very personal. She's very, yeah. So I got to call her today. I thought about that. When you two was talking about each one they told me, they didn't get, you know, to do it. Okay.
Do I still need to be putting one together?
Say that again.
Do I still need to be putting together a training then? Is she gonna be coming in?
You can go ahead and see, let me know what kind of training you're trying to do. Because I got to get in touch with this lady first to make sure she's there.
Okay, because that's what mine was gonna be on, is having everyone set up docs, sharing.
Okay, you can do that, but then this lady, she's
That's fine.
awesome. So that will be good.
Okay.
Okay, at least they'll know some stuff.
Okay.
Okay.
WC, you have to come to you for the whole year. You'll be a resource. That's a state level.
No, I know, but she's gonna be teaching the same
You
thing.
only
that I
have
was
one
teaching.
class,
Going through.
and joining us to teach, to do your part.
For what? Sure, tech.
When you end up trying to come in, remind me of the ones, you don't have one class.
You know.
Do you use Angel? I know
Oh,
that.
yes. Never mind.
We're like, Angel, your district provides you with an LMS called Angel. Do you guys use it at all?
This is my first year. I know.
Okay, so learning management system is basically your bucket for your courses. You should have an online place where all of your courses are listed.
I know what he was
Go there,
saying.
sign
He was
in, and be in your course. And see it all together.
I'm sure
Angel has a training.
you're the actual WC.
Blackboard bought up Angel so that they could do away with it. To eliminate the competition. So nobody's programming.
After a couple rounds, yeah, doing the wobble and the buggy and the wobble and all that.
But they're not moved to something different.
So I might be better off.
If we're getting something next week, you know.
I was thinking about.
Maybe not.
Yeah, see?
What you'll be able to do
But I do it.
use district resources for a year, take advantage of that.
I have no clue.
You know,
I've never heard of that.
the next one we'll have.
Because
What I think they'll do, they'll support you in,
Smart.
make sure your courses are in date already. And then you don't have to do any of the uploading. Names, make passwords, when you get there, there's one less click. You know, if another teacher uses it, they already know how to use it, there's not a lot of up. Yeah. I know that's the district it's old right now.
Well, I can share something when you share it with me.
You should have access to sharing.
Or if you have it live.
Sure, I have this one, so you use.
It's just HLS, guys. I did. You want me to put it in real quick?
Yeah, would you? Okay.
But these.
Sarah, I need to take the one, 43 down.
I've heard of it.
Okay, cool. I got it. Okay, those ones that shared with me later are gonna be in there. I need to go.
Introducing that they are going to be doing an experiment. And somehow they have to come up with a way to present the science, focus me, project based. Just want to get a grip on, can they, will they, are they able, or get their hands wet with it, so there's no real, it's okay. So, and the ultimate goal is understanding of some way to present it. Yeah, I mean, we don't want to go there for it, so, you know, and come up with some.
I'm not sure, but you have to.
Well, it has to be a start of that.
Provide them, you can't just give us your, you have to provide them.
This could be.
But one of the teachers, the guy he's a attorney deal that he makes that, he can't make all the content, but part of being an programming, so you will work during lunch. And then they'll.
And so that could be.
So both of you
the beginning of that, and then
will be
embedded
playing
in that.
during your lunch hour. I know, right? It'll only happen once.
The scientific method. There.
You didn't know you have to perform in front of a group,
And
so.
also embedded in that are some of the lab things that you have to go over, things that have to be discussed. So what safety issues are you experiencing as you go through yours?
So you will, and what you do is you'll be able to sit on the stage and perform while the
So
other.
embedded in that whole project is characteristics of science.
Then words spread, you know, people go. Oh, no. That's worse than performing.
Only some of them,
Right.
right? You know, we had that, which is hilarious.
I mean, it's just the nature of it, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh.
Yeah, I've got a,
Yours experiment.
Right.
You know? I mean, it's way out of the box. Like, devices switch, flat, and burn. But, you know, if you introduce it that way, if you introduce it where you're intrigued, then they're like, hey, we did this. We did it. We've already done that. Hey, oh, I gotta catch them. I gotta catch them.
I think I lost people. Right, which is fine. By me. Hold it up.
Did you look, when you have your lunch? When was the last time you looked? No, because she emails her,
No, I mean. I emailed her earlier, because I asked if they had been uploaded, she said the other lady was still creating a Word document.
Yeah, I am. You guys want to start back up again, and we'll just let the stragglers catch up to us when we're ready? Are you ready? Yes, we're ready. Sweet. Okay, so one of my challenges when I got here, used to being able to play video. Right, so when I walked in, I noticed that YouTube doesn't work, so then right away I'm already like, how do I solve my problem? Not like, this guy's probably YouTube doesn't work here, we're making to do about videos, oh my god. I immediately go from, what's that?
Google the video.
Right, YouTube.
YouTube will let you work.
What's that?
Yeah, but if you Google like.
Oh, and another video or go play on another one. Yeah, other players do play here, but I want this specific one that's not anywhere else, right? So I was like, what do I do? And here's the workaround. And one of the things that I'm always going to start with is, can I find it somewhere else, like you said? Does that exist? Let me get up to the right part. And I know that I'm going to need to download that video to be able to show it in class the next day or with you guys. So one of the first things I do is I go out and I do a Google search for this thing, but I've got to know how to query or ask Google questions, right? So that's actually a skill. And you would think, like, you just start asking questions. But it's actually a skill. This is also, like, I always show tools that I'm hoping that you'll just steal all of my ideas all the time. And there's this Google Apps, or this company called Common Craft, and they do these videos in plain English. And I had it up here before. Welcome to tech.
I don't know about that.
No, the one that I have the one in plain English, but I wanted to play the one, I'm just gonna go out and find it again. It's and here's one of those skills that you think is common sense, but this is their website. And what's nice about this website too is they make their videos in Vimeo, and they're playable. I had it queued up before. I should look at mine. There it is. Put it in a different bucket. So the volume works. Oh, that's not good.
Search results have lots of other web pages linking to them. Each link acts as a vote to say, this may be a good resource. The problem is that there are often too many results. You need a way to reduce the number. The web may seem like a vast ocean when it comes to finding something you need. Thankfully, search engines can help turn oceans of information into small pools that make finding information easier. Before we dive in, let's talk a bit about how search works on the web. Search engines go out and try to account for every word on every web page. All this information is then organized for easy reference. When you search for a word, the search engine finds all the pages where the word appears and displays them in the search results. Usually, the pages that appear highest in the search results have lots of other web pages linking to them. Each link acts as a vote to say, this may be a good resource. The problem is that there are often too many results. You need a way to reduce the number of results so you can find what you need. Let's look at how this works. Say you're looking for a specific kind of fish, and these represent all the websites on the web. Searching for fish doesn't help much. There are way too many results. You need to be more specific. Try to imagine the exact fish and describe it in the search box. You'll see that each word you use gets you closer to what you need. You can do this for any website by imagining a website that has your answer. What's the title of the page? What words appear on it? If you put those words in the search box, you'll get closer to finding answers. But to be a smart searcher, you should know some basic shortcuts. Let's say you're looking for words that appear together, like a phrase or quote. An example is a search for information on sand sharks. If you search for it like this, the search engine looks for pages with sand and sharks. To get better results, put quotes around the words, like this. It limits the results to the exact phrase. Here's another shortcut. Words often have multiple meanings. Consider the word mullet, which is both a fish and a hairstyle. A search for mullet may give you a number of results about the hairstyle, but fewer about the fish. To remove the results about hair, place a hyphen or minus sign just before the word you want to exclude, which means, show me the pages about mullet, but take away results relating to hair. By being specific and using words and symbols that remove useless information, you can find exactly what you need and keep the web from swallowing you whole.
So the one part of it that reminds me of the in quotes and text, if you're hearing or you're reading your students writing and you're noticing that the voice shifts, if you put that phrase in quotes in Google, it will bring up immediately what site that came from and it's plagiarized. It's pretty powerful. But I show this because one of our jobs with these tools is to help them work through the immense amount of information that's out there to make the most sense for them in what they're being asked to do or for their life. So that's another like great jump off point for Google Apps for Education. And what you'll see is that basically your email window is your whole organizational window. And off of your email window, so this is one, I started this email so long ago when I was in grad school and still afraid to have my identity out online. So eCram is Marcy backwards. You know, who's gonna think of that? With my favorite number. So this is my eCram 3 identity and email address. But what I've done since I've started using this with everything else, I now funnel all of my other email into this one, and I'm going to show you a little bit about how to do that. And that's the start of, managing the sheer amount of digital information that's going to start to come your way because of all of this. So this is my management portal for almost everything that I do related to my job. And right here, and I don't know, but they've switched all this minimalist type of design. Here are all of your apps and all of the things that happen inside Google Apps for Education. If you'll notice, up here in the left-hand corner is a little guy who looks like a spy, right? This is called an incognito window. And whenever I sign in on a machine that's not mine, or I'm going to hand it back, or another classroom machine, I always open up an incognito window, and it's really easy in Chrome. You go over here, and you can tell there's quick keys for it. You can see the quick key combination right here. Open up an incognito window. Whenever I close out of that window with the X, everything that I did is gone. I don't have to worry about my passwords being saved in there. I don't have to worry about someone seeing the websites that I went to while I was there. Anything, my footprint on this computer is erased when I shut that window. So I don't have to worry about leaving oh my gosh, did I leave my email open on that, or did it save my password as I went through it? You know when you press that X, it's gone. So that's why that little spy is there right now. And of course, yes, these can be used in nefarious ways, but we're always hoping that our kids are using it the best way possible. So I'm signed in, I'm in an incognito window. It also helps if you have more than one Gmail account to use the incognito window, because then you can be signed into different ones. And I'll show you a little bit about my settings. So in your, when you're inside your Gmail, the gear always takes you to your settings. Right? And then you can see in my accounts and my imports, here are all the different emails that I have I'm harvesting from to put in this one spot. And the way that I organize that is through labels. And labels are basically folders, right? In any other mail client, they're called folders. And then what I'm able to do through the labels is there's a lot of sweet things that happen. So they pop up here, and you can see I have numbers by my labels. I have a label for you guys. And that tells me if I want stuff to skip my inbox, like with my advisees, we write progress notes all the time. I don't need that to come into my inbox, right? I don't need to know about that right away. I know that I'm gonna wanna look at that, but it's when I have time, like teaching, you know, I need things that are paramount or that need to be dealt with right away. I'm not gonna have time to deal with that progress note all the time. I'll know it's there, I can get to it when I need to get to it. It doesn't have to go to my first inbox. So I have a label for that, and through filters, I can send it there. I'm gonna show you how to make a filter in a second. The beautiful thing about that too is you don't have time to go to whatever website it is and unsubscribe to the thing that you subscribed to 4 years ago that's meaningless to your life anymore but won't get out of your darn inbox, right? So in my inbox, what I can do is filter things right to the trash. So there's some really powerful tools in here that can help you with managing the sheer amount of information that you're gonna get. You can also drill down so far that I need to know, because I'm responsible for everything that plugs in our building and the server, I need to know when my principal emails me. So I have a text message alert for any email that comes in from him. Because I always know that's the best way to get a hold of me is through my phone. But I'm not always checking my email all the time on my phone, but my text messages, that pings me. I don't let a lot of things ping me, I shut it off when my phone is just too much stuff all the time. I let my text messages ping me because I know that that's the best way to get to me. You have to figure out in this age, what are the ways that you want to be communicated with, and what are the boundaries that you're going to put up? What are you not going to listen to? Because there's so many different news articles and things and clickbait and all that stuff. What are you going to shut off so that you can function still as a human being? And then taking that information and the ways that you're managing this stuff and helping your students do the same thing. But realizing the way that works for you isn't going to work for you. And that's okay. It's the same type of management, it just looks different. And then how do you help the kids mire through all that stuff as you're learning about it? So I'm going to go in here and find an email I don't need. Filters. Yesterday I used my mom as an example. Talk about that one too. Your mother forward you a lot of stuff? Does your mother know how to use email? My mom not so good at it. She loves the forward. She'll forward everybody in her address book every interesting little elephant thing or recipe that comes through. I don't care about your recipes, woman. So what I can do is I can go in with the filter. Let's do AT&T. Right? I can choose the one I want to filter. The nice thing is it will start to filter all of those messages that are the same. I want to filter messages like this. You can do it just based off of who it's from, or you can do like keywords or subjects. So my progress notes come in with the same subject header all the time, so I just do it by the subject. So it's nice. It's all kinds of ways that you can filter that stuff out. You can do it, does it have an attachment? All kinds of great things. You can move on from there. You can tell it to skip the inbox and go right to the trash. One of my favorites. You can say skip the inbox, and then you can give it any label you want. You can choose that label, or you can make a new one right in this. You don't have to make the label ahead of time, which I think is a great feature as well. Then what it will say to you is, do you want all the ones that are the same as that to go to, so you have one matching one, do you want it to go to the same place? I don't want it to go to the trash can. But I say I want it to skip the inbox, and I want it to go to my AT&T bill thing, so I'm gonna have it go straight to bills. I don't need to see that one all the time. And yes, take the other one out of my inbox and put that one in there. then you'll see under bills, which I don't really look at them that much, there's 57 of them. But here, if I need to look up like my insurance bill or anything like that, I have that right here. And it's a way that my personal stuff is mixed in with my school stuff. So up on the top, you can star stuff in the way that you have it organized, and this stuff will start to make more and more sense to you. You can see I have those boxes, like here's my science leadership one. And that stuff sits at the top for me, so that I know that I have to look in those inboxes as well. There's other ways that you can have double inboxes up. This stuff goes, the way that you can drill down in this information and really personalize it for your exact use is incredible. But just start looking at that stuff. Right now, this for you is let this stuff wash over you. Know that you have these choices. These things are coming. From here then, I have my drive folder. All right? And inside my drive folder are all the different ways that I have to create ways to evidence learning or my own documents. This is like Microsoft Word now for you. It'll change from that. You can upload all of your things if they're created in different word processing places. You just go right to the upload, and anything will be digitized for you right away. What I'd like to do now, if you do have a Google account and you're going to click on Drive, you're going to make a document. Start to put some of your best resources from your best unit in here now, and then what I'll show you later is how to transfer that into a learning management system. So it's this way of organizing digital information so you can put it from place to place. If you don't have a Google login, sit next to somebody that does and watch how they go through the different things. So we'll do that for about the next 5 to 10 minutes, and then I'm going to show you some neat things that are possible with the Google document. So just doodle around in one, see what you can find. I'll be around to help. Take your best unit, put in some of the links and stuff you use for it, your resources.
You should get and then you go Drive. Now, when you do Google Drive, you've got and it'll allow you to make an email, but it has share. You've got all these options.
How are we doing? Can everybody open one? You can figure out how to open one?
The new email, I came through my school email, and I opened it, I was able to access it, and I opened it, I wanted one web email, which I got my email, but I don't know where to get to this now.
Okay, so, do you have an email address? Okay, so what you want to do is go out onto your browser. Are you in your browser now? Go to,
So I started this because I was and I shared it with our collaborators. And as we worked on this, we decided that we were all
I don't know why it's asking.
Someone else will set up their hard drive somewhere. Okay, I got it. I want to share my drive. That way, I just found these stuff, I had this.
Yeah, it's great.
You know, teach me some stuff here.
grab my another thing that I have.
I don't keep all my stuff on here. I mean, I don't like it until like when we have meetings, and then when we can share stuff. I'm setting all my students up to email, and use their first, last name, use their student ID, first password, deactivate.
Well, see, this is what I'm
So basically, that'd be what they.
So it was just a school email, and I just shared it, so like,
That's the right here. I can do set up with parents, so we get them a lot of messages, with my plans. Some functionality,
see, because
and then with Ednuity,
and see, this is where it's really, like, these are just right, I did, these are the ones I did. These are shared with others.
Google should have all the kids' names, which I'll be setting up. I can usually take the back email where if they need to reset their password, so I'll get a notification.
Just see, I'll log in, share, and then I can, well, the cool was I can go here and write a comment. And do this, and say,
Weird. Yes, that's what I'm trying to do. This is Google browser.
and then I do that, and there's my prompt, so I can solve it on my dad. She will get an email notification that I have a prompt. So that way, yeah, exactly, like I can choose if we're done. What was really good is that I had a lot of admin stuff.
For those things, it's convenient for especially the students who can't like word and all that, at least then they can go to the library. You can actually do email. The reason I like Chrome is anything you do, that your Gmail login or your Google login is really what you're creating. You log into Chrome as a browser, and any of your bookmarks that you save, you can access your Chrome login anywhere. So unlike, like Firefox or internet browser on your home, you got your bookmarks. When you go to school, all those bookmarks aren't connected. Well, if I do your functions on my phone, on my bookmarks, I go to log into my Chrome account, all my bookmarks are there. All my documents are saved. And it's a good way to read documents instead of having like a flash drive. You work on my home, it's a document that you bring up flash drive. Upload it, download it from your Gmail account if you need to download it. Especially since we'll have wireless, it was harder if you didn't have wireless. This is a bit all but we have wireless. You made the PowerPoint.
It helps you to categorize.
It makes it a lot of us having wireless. Pressing down with more paper.
So that's that's why I'm laughing. No, that's fine. And this is an app that is. What I'm trying to do is get into your Gmail browser and once you open it.
It's not, I don't say it's easy, we've never done it, but once you learn how to do it, it's not hard to learn.
It's saying
It's a lot more interactive.
that was my
Presentation, or you click on a letter in Word.
It's just like, this is an issue. Right, it's a responsible one.
That's what presentation is.
It's just organized.
PowerPoint has things like fly in, but you have to go slide to slide. This is just basically like one big thing that all your information is laid out, and you can add different ways of getting to it, zooming into it, where like, if you look at it from the whole thing, the information maybe goes one way, but click on the letter, now it breaks it into lines.
Isn't that nice? Feels nice.
Oh, the blank. Oh.
Maybe parents
create. I'm in the Google Drive, and then if you just click create right there, it'll let you create.
Do you have to go to the drive first?
Yeah, are you in Google Drive or you just in the email? Well, mine didn't because I know, I just put no thanks.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that.
And then what you can do is, the person here.
And then scroll through all of it, feel like, you might get like 10 pages, like I've been looking at a lot of that stuff.
This is at the high school.
Okay, now watch my, see that? She's viewing it, and that's, see, click on where I tried it, it'll say my head.
Like everything zero is made. As long as one of your strengths is, you know, having an outline and making sure that your managerial style is good. You know what I mean? Yeah, I've been getting into that, so I mean, it's, you always have a job. You can get that funded and all.
So I didn't know I could say,
What did you do?
6 years.
When I,
Well, our problem at my last school was from the top. The problem was from the top, and the principal was real weak, really president. Yeah, so she didn't have so of course they she wasn't firm, and so all the kids did that, and you couldn't fix so it was going out of control. We had 1,400 kids. And so it I think they use that a lot of times.
You're gonna wanna be able to take all that information and put it into the learning management. So here's the way you start to develop it. You have it against my So what does that give us? What are the activities we're learning?
And each year the kids do.
They're gonna start off with, what is something digitally, that you can manage? Switch over into the learning management system that you're gonna be after.
Everybody and set that up. So she, when you did the teacher keys evaluation, whenever she got them, and everybody was slammed. She was really unhappy with the results. So she knew.
So that if that learning management
system
we're having, and you can coordinate with your
participate.
in a way that
that's
can,
she does all the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade teachers and administrators.
There's always that learning document of
Everybody got new classrooms, and that's stupid. I mean, especially, you know.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing that's here. You would move the teacher around there to a classroom is
Exactly. You just motivate everybody. Yeah, that's what it is. She thought that the problem why it was with us instead of her. She thought that everything, even though we had 86 teachers, you know, that were saying policies, she's like, it's your fault.
yeah, he was, oh my God, it was such a, I always felt it. Because I was like, someone else felt So I was working in a non-desktop model, and then I saw problems that happened or I support sheet that I didn't think about, and then I think about ways that I did with the videos. But I never.
That was what refreshing about Dr. Bell. I don't think she's that way. I mean, she's very sweet and firm, and she does exactly what you're supposed to do as a leader in my previous.
Yeah, now we